the praise. So you think that when you have 4 kids and they all go to school, that you won't have to take care of anybody in the day, but no. We had a bright idea to get a puppy about 2 years ago. This is Magic. Magic, say hi to the camera. He's wagging his tail. It means he likes you guys. Anyhow, we got Magic, and I promise you, it's like I have another kid 24/7. He's at home. He's on my heels. I'm yelling at him. He's following me into the shower. This guy is clingy. He's there waiting for anything that drops when I cook and when I'm taping Chef Mommy. So this is what I do when I'm not in the kitchen. I had to take Magic for a walk. But in a second, I'm gonna see you in the kitchen. We'll go in there and make something really delicious. Today, I'm thinking we're gonna make a meatloaf and some kind of mashed potatoes and a green vegetable. Who knows? I'll go in the refrigerator, see what's in there, and make the best of it. And I'm so happy that I can do it with you guys. See you in a second on Chef Mommy. So I'm back inside from walking Magic, and it's time to get dinner started because the kids will be home from school in no time. Today I decided I wanted to make a meatloaf, so I asked Mommy, what do I put in a meatloaf? And she said she used to always make it back in the day. This is long before she turned vegan. Even while she was vegan, she would also cook for people who weren't vegan. So it's funny to me that she could fry chicken, make any kind of meat, and make it taste good. People would rave about it, and she never tasted or ate it herself. That is somebody who's got some serious skill and talent. So she said, try and mimic ground beef. And so I turned to our handy dandy friends, mushrooms. So I wanna make a meatless meatloaf today with a barbecue kind of glaze. And since I'm Russian, I'm not gonna do the barbecue glaze from scratch. I'm gonna use some good old barbecue sauce that's store-bought. Judge me if you want to, but hey, sometimes mama's gotta take shortcuts, right? So we have some mushrooms here. We have some oatmeal that I have blended up into a powdery, like flour-like substance. Sometimes if I had some breadcrumbs on hand, I would use it, but I'm trying to like go easy on all of the gluten for my family, so I don't have any breadcrumbs, and I normally would put it in my meatless meatloaf. I've got some green, like a half of a bell pepper. I have some celery here. That's 2 celery stalks chopped, and I have 3 big garlics that I chopped up. 1 white onion. I have some lentils that I had left over today. I also added some of this to it, super grains, because I want to make sure that they're getting some super good stuff. It has a blend of red and white quinoa, millet, and buckwheat for our meatloaf today. So I'm gonna turn on my fire. I put a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of my pan, and I'm going to saute my mushrooms and all of these vegetables until they're a little bit, oh, and I left out the fact that I'm gonna put a little bit of tomato paste and water just to give it like a meaty look and that tomatoey kind of taste that you enjoy in a meatloaf, especially since we're gonna do a barbecue glaze like everybody else does on top of meatloaf, all right? And I told you guys, I always salt the bottom of my pan, just a wee bit, not too much. I know people use a lot of, you always probably see me just using Himalayan sea salt. I am trying to not be using like seasoned salts and all of the great things that they taste wonderful, but they're high in sodium, and so you have to be careful not to overdo it. And so that's what I'm trying to do with Himalayan sea salt, for me especially, since I have high blood pressure. When you're cooking, mamas, you got to not only think about your children's nutrition, but you got to think about yours and your husband, if you have one, or your boyfriend. You want to be healthy too, because if you're not healthy, then who's going to take care of your children, right? Can't just think about them. Now, so I'm putting my mushrooms my celery, bell pepper, and you noticed I chopped my mushrooms pretty fine because, and all of this I went for a fine chop on it because I want them to kind of like mimic the whole meat thing. And this is a lot. So, this is probably more than I made the last time when I was testing this out. I didn't have a whole bunch of mushrooms. I used some leftover mushrooms that I had, some shiitakes, and it was like maybe not even a fourth of a pack. But today I used a whole thing of mushrooms, and you can use the whatever mushrooms you fancy. Shiitake mushrooms I hadn't used a bunch, but I thought they were okay. People like those mushrooms a lot. Don't kill me. I mean, I'm not very versed on all of the fungus, or should I say fungi. So I'm just gonna saute this and until I get it, some of the flavors to come out a little bit, until my onions get a little translucent. And then I'm gonna take a big bowl and I'm gonna just mix all of my ingredients together. I did chop up, I happen to have had some fresh herbs on hand. I had oregano, sage, I had some thyme. And so I'm also gonna add this and put it all together. Mushroom, vegetarian mixture in there, and it looks like ground beef, like I mentioned earlier. So now I have the quinoa super grains that I have cooked, and I'm gonna put that in the bowl. That was about 2 cups of it. And I'm gonna mix that up a little bit. And I also had some fresh herbs that I was telling you about and I didn't want to saute them because I didn't want to lose all the flavor. They will bake in there while it's baking. And I have a cup of lentils. Guys, this really is a whole meal, like a super meal. Super duper meal. A cup of lentils. And I have something else that will help bind this together. I use energy egg replacer as a binder to help keep this together. Usually, what I told you, I use some oatmeal, so I'm not going to use all of this right quick. I'm going to see how. Let's start with a cup of it, just to see how it's coming. I'm a sloppy cook sometimes. Got stuff everywhere. Pardon the mess. All right, here we go. Booyah! Let's see how that mixes up. And this is my energy egg replacer. I did like the equivalent of 2 eggs to kind of hold this together, especially if you're doing like a gluten-free oat. And if you don't want to do like the whole quinoa thing, you could do brown rice or whatever whatever suits you to make this happen. But this is how I'm doing it, and it is delicious. And the other thing I did the last time, I made this because I thought, it was too loose for me. If it's not looking like stiff enough or firm enough, you can, I'm gonna add, you don't have to, this is a plus or a minus, this is up to you. I'm gonna add a little bit of this Follow Your Heart Parmesan cheese, and I'm gonna probably put like half of this container in there. It's up to you. If you want to use all of it, if you want a really cheesy taste in your meatloaf, it's on you. Or if you don't want that at all, you don't have to use that in your meatloaf. It's just, I thought it might add a little something to it. All right. I'm also going to put, because I like a little bit of a kick, I'm going to put some cayenne. As they say in New Orleans, cayenne. I'm trying to remember, there was somebody I used to watch when I was little who used to talk, and he said put a little cayenne when he was cooking. He was a Cajun guy. And I'm going to put a little bit of salt, probably not very much though, because remember that was probably like 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, but you can salt it to your own taste, and as far as pepper goes too. And I know it's just in me. This is garlic. I'm gonna give a sprinkle of garlic powder, even though I have all this fresh garlic. I know, don't hold it against me. And then I put this hickory smoke dried Tarulis. I don't know where this came from, but it gives it kind of a smoky flavor to me, a meaty flavor. So I'm gonna put a little bit of that. And I'm also gonna put some liquid smoke in it, maybe just like a couple drops. Will. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bake this in the oven at 350, probably for about 40 minutes until I see it like it's cooked all the way through and it's all the way together. Isn't that's what the meatloaf looks like. And after I bake it and make sure that it's done, I'm gonna just put a little bit of barbecue sauce on top, and I'm gonna stick it back in until the barbecue sauce looks kind of sticky and yummy and baked a little bit. And then I'm gonna take it out and I'm gonna serve it because it's gonna be delicious. And you should do the same thing too. All right, so that is how we make meatloaf. At the end of when it's done baking and when I'm done putting a glaze of barbecue sauce on top, I'll show you how it looks. Thank you so much once again for being with me here today, for supporting me. Thank you to all of my new subscribers and followers. If you want to follow me on a day-to-day basis, because I don't always make videos, I'm trying to do better. I do post pictures of meals that I make, and I try and put the recipes in the comments. I'm praying for you on your journey to a healthier life, a healthier you, for you and your family, whether you're doing it whether you're following me because your kid has food allergies or you have food allergies, or because you just want to try new recipes, things that are fun and healthy. Thank you so much for putting your faith in me enough to try these recipes and follow me on a journey that will hopefully be wonderful and fun. All right, thank you. Remember to give this video a thumbs up, like it, share it, and if you haven't subscribed, do it right now. So bye. This is the meatloaf.
The party's over, it's time to call it a day. They burst a pretty balloon and taking the moon away. It's time to wind up the masquerade. Just make your mind up, the piper must be paid. The party's over.